Kia ora, good evening. A proposal to spray treated wastewater onto rural land at Manapuri could lead to the Environment Court if Environment Southland grants the controversial proposal resource consent. Fiordland Sewerage Options Incorporated represents concerned residents opposed to the scheme that could see wastewater pumped 19 kilometres from Te Anau before being sprayed onto land close to the Manapuri airport. FSO says they will appeal to the Environment Court if the 35-year resource consent is granted and are holding a public meeting tomorrow night in Te Anau to inform residents of potential options and actions. Nationwide industrial action to protect job security at New Zealand's wealthiest bank could be on the cards following several local strikes over the past fortnight. First union members at ANZ have voted with almost 85% of ballots cast for taking strike action. The vote to strike comes because ANZ is proposing contracts where workers would only know what month by month which days, start times and finish times they'll be working, according to a First Union spokesperson. ANZ posted a statutory profit of $1.37 billion in the last financial year. Saturday night was Rock and Roll Hall of Fame night at the Invercargill Workingmen's Club. The full house was kept entertained by 5 top-class Southern acts from the past, such as Exposure, Post No Bills, Jet with Shannon Cooper Garland, the band Abraham and Vision from the 80s. There were 6 musicians inducted into the Hall of Fame: Sonny Williams, Paul Rosell, Neil Blue, former Stag front rower Stephen Hayes, Stu Dobbs and Neville Scott. Convener of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame committee, Neil McDermott, says the night's entertainment was excellent. He says it's one of the best gigs of its type in the Southern Hemisphere. Top-selling children's author and musician Craig Smith is touring his new book, and today he made 2 special appearances at the Invercargill Public Library.
The author of the catchy song and story Wonky Donkey, a book which has reached sales of 400,000 internationally, is back with his latest story about a panda and his friends who spend a little too much time in front of the television or on an electronic device. The author says the message is clear: get off the couch and into other activities.
Square eyes, get square eyes, let's exercise.
The next 2 months will be spent on the road promoting the new book, and if today's turnout at the public library is anything to go by, it's going to be a busy time.
Square Eyes is about a lazy panda who sits on his couch all day and probably watches a bit too much TV. He's got a couple of friends who maybe watch a little bit too much of the iPad as well, and the idea is to get kids off the couch, away from the TV, and maybe a little bit more active.
And you're on tour. This is not the first gig on the tour, if you like, but very popular. You've got a full house here almost.
Yeah, 2.5 months of touring around New Zealand. I've done Winton and Te Anau already, and we started in Queenstown, and then which is my hometown. And so this is like the 4th show of the tour, and we're all set.
What's the secret to writing a good children's book, do you think?
It's hard to say what the secret is. All I know is I have a lot of fun. And of course I write all my stories in song, which helps. And what I do is test it out a lot on the kids. Like I'll write something, and if it works really well, then we will continue with it. If it doesn't work really well, then I have to go back and rewrite some stuff.
Can I ask you, do you have a favourite from when you were a child?
From when I was a child, it was definitely, which involved a lot of music as well, which was Bad Jelly the Witch by Spike Milligan.
I agree.
Yeah, it was absolute. I used to miss the bus because I was listening to it on the radio in the morning. Yeah, so that's totally my favourite. Other than that, children's books, you're looking at things like Dr. Seuss, and then when I got a little bit older, things like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory by Roald Dahl and things like that. They were all very, very popular for me.
The HITO Southern South Apprentice of the Year 2014 has been won by Invercargill woman Rachel Paterana. Rachel's a first-year apprentice at Fred and Ginger's and says she's making the most of her time as a novice, saying she intends to enter for every award and scholarship while she qualifies. For this award, she had to write her goals, achievements and aspirations before going up against hundreds of applications within New Zealand, and she's still in with a chance to win the top prize, New Zealand Apprentice of the Year, at the presentation ceremony in Wellington next month.
I've been in the industry and working for Tash and Karma and Fred and Ginger's for the last 8 years. I think I've got a little bit of background knowledge when it comes to hairdressing. I am so passionate about the industry. I'm a little bit older, so I'm a little bit more mature. And I just I want older people, not that I'm old, but older people to go for their goals and not just make excuses anymore of why they haven't, why they're not achieving and being what they want to be.
You were selected from 3 finalists, 2 from this salon and 1 from Arrowtown. How does that sit within the salon, having a competitor like that?
Me and Joe are best friends and work colleagues, so we were both, rubbing each other's back. And at the end of the day, we can't choose.
What will it do for your career going forward?
The acknowledgement is enough for me. It's pretty overwhelming being a first-year apprentice. Hopefully it will open the doors, give me a little bit more inspiration. I really wanted to get my name out there and to go to Wellington, accept the award, and then hopefully go on to being New Zealand Apprentice of the Year would be my ultimate goal. But yeah, up against the rest of the country for that.
And as far as what you actually win as part of the prize package?
Yeah, you basically win the bragging rights, a huge trophy that I can get to bring home and display in the window of our salon. To me, it was more about a personal goal, and I achieved it, and I'm absolutely over the moon.
Stay with us after the break. MP-elect for Invercargill Sarah Dowie on her increased majority with special votes counted and the priorities for the final session of Parliament for 2014. Welcome back. With special votes counted, MP for Invercargill-elect Sarah Dowie has increased her election night majority over Labour's Leslie Soper to 7,482 votes. Ms Dowie spent 2 weeks in Wellington being inducted into National's caucus. Hunter Andrews asked her about the MP-elect, about the majority after special votes and her priorities in the short time before Parliament breaks for Christmas.
It's a fantastic win. It's wonderful to have that majority, but obviously now the hard work begins. I've got 60,000 people to represent in Wellington, and the hopes and aspirations of Southland are now on my shoulders.
Yes, was there a moment that did strike home with you in particular? I know you probably knew that as you were running that would be your responsibility, but it is a big responsibility, isn't it, representing 60,000 in Parliament?
Absolutely. When I went up to Wellington and was in Parliament House, it was awe-inspiring, and that's when it particularly struck me that so many have tried to become MPs and run and sit in the House, and so many have failed. So I am a privileged few, and I intend to take that responsibility very seriously.
How has that last couple of weeks been? In any way overwhelming, or did it exceed your expectations? Do you know what you were heading into for those first 2 weeks?
Look, it was all of the emotions in the book. It was absolutely overwhelming. It was exciting. It was terrifying in some respects, but exhilarating in others. So, look, it was a fantastic induction run by Parliamentary Services and by the National Party whips. But yeah, the full range of emotions, just like being a third former at school, very collegiate, but yeah, overwhelming with the aura of the buildings.
Some good figures out. Let's talk about the electorate now. Some very good figures out last week showing that our police are performing very well down here. In fact, 1.5% better than the national average at 5% here. You had some comment on that.
Absolutely. I'm thrilled for the police down here. They've absolutely nailed those results, and it's wonderful that Southland is a place where we can thrive and that our communities are safe, that we're safer in our communities and our property is safe. So well done to the police.
I actually asked Inspector Lane Todd last week whether we've actually performed too well and that some of our staff could be at risk here. What are your thoughts on that, and would you fight that?
Well, yeah, absolutely. And I don't think that our staffing is at risk. I mean, obviously, some of the initiatives that National has brought in are simple things like giving police iPads so that frees up their time administrative wise to get out onto the beat and returning to that more community policing feel. So that's not necessarily about more staff on the ground, it's about more hours for each individual.
Next 2 weeks, very busy for you. You're obviously looking at getting on select committees and things. When will that be finalised? We've seen the ministers, the new cabinet name today. When will you know what your role will be in Wellington?
Hopefully this week, but it could be as late as next week. I mean, obviously Jerry Brownlee has been confirmed as the leader of the House, and that's his job, to look at people's skills and basically put them on their select committees. So looking forward to finding out what select committees I'm on. Obviously I will be going hard on anything that I'm put on. I have my interests, of course, but that doesn't matter. Obviously, once you're put on a select committee, you've got a responsibility to do your job well.
Are there some key issues that you'll be exceedingly busy at the moment, but looking ahead, are there some issues you're wanting to tackle prior to Christmas at all?
Yeah, I just want to get my head around, obviously, the health system down here. Obviously, there's a few things that have been raised with me personally from constituents, so I need to look into that. And obviously, just getting the right staffing and the right team involved for me so that we can be effective down here in Southland while I'm up in Wellington undertaking my parliamentary duties there. So yeah, it's about the right staffing so that we can get stuck into the issues down here.
Fostering Southern talent was behind a concert at Southland Boys High School on Saturday night. 5-0 Harmony Chorus performed a concert titled Kaleidoscope, which featured their most requested and favourite songs. The chorus and the ILT Foundation were once again offering scholarships to young female singers, and 4 scholarship finalists were selected to sing at the annual concert. The aim of the scholarship is to foster talent and assist with further developing young women with potential. This year, the $2,000 scholarship was awarded to 17-year-old Katie Rose Freeborn, who has a passion for contemporary and jazz. And that's it from us. Sport follows the weather next from the news team. Good night.